We want change. We want change now. For the past 10 years, survivors have been coming and standing in front of the Capitol with everyone's best interest at heart, even when our voices were ignored, even when we were not a part of the conversation about how to keep communities safe. But thanks to us, this state has made historic changes that have brought healing. Healing, let me hear you say healing. Healing to communities across this state. It has inspired the entire country to look at how California does when it comes to healing and support for victims and survivors. This is your work. This is your work, survivors. California survivors, make some noise. And I think we've come a long way because there's some people who have been listening to us, some champions who stand with us because they also understand how important it is to make sure that every survivor, every victim, everyone in our community who's been harmed, all of our communities have been harmed, get the help that they deserve. Get the opportunity to heal because healing makes what, y'all? Change. Healing creates change. State of California, we're here because we want you to understand that the root of the problem can only be cured by healing. Everything that you are up against right now when it comes to this issue of public safety, healing is at the core. Unlike a lot of others, we're going to stand with you to make it happen. We're not just here to talk about what didn't work. We're here with the solutions. Because see, you cannot continue to hold people and communities accountable if we can't hold systems accountable. So we are here to hold you accountable, California. Please be clear about our relationship. Because we have been here, haven't we all? In the Capitol every year. And we see people come and meet with our electeds. We see people come and make their issues known to government. That's important. That's a part of what we do. We participate, right? And we want to see the same response for our communities. We want to see the same investment for our communities. We want to see the same opportunities because we need mental health, don't we all? We need counseling and therapy, don't we, family? We need justice for our loved ones who have been taken by police violence, don't we, family? We need to make sure that these mothers who are in the worst moment of their life, who've had to bury their babies, don't have to go outside and ask nobody for nothing, don't we? That's what dignity is called. That's what dignity is called. We're here to teach you, California, that this is how you respond when someone is hurt or harmed. It's not about who law enforcement says is a victim. It's about whether or not we are going to deal with the problem. And the problem is that our communities are hurting. And that people who have not been treated, when that hurt is unaddressed, people cry bullets. And those tears hurt a lot of people. Not just the person that gets hit. Whole communities of people who will never be the same. There's people here today with those wounds. But guess what? We are the healing. And that's why they're here. We are here because we are the healing. We are the healing that the state needs. We're the healing that the country needs. The conversation we have been leading here has gone to 8 different states. Survivors, y'all should be proud of that. You should be proud that the work that we've done here in California over the past 10 years has inspired the country. We have over 200,000 members, survivors. And there are people in communities that don't even know that we exist yet. But imagine what happens when they do. Imagine what this movement is going to look like when they see that out here on the Capitol, about 500 of us in California came together and said, when we speak, you're going to listen. And when you listen, you're going to work with us to make change. How many of you are here today because you're standing in the gap for somebody who's no longer with us? And how many of y'all are determined to make sure that never happens again? We have work to do. In California, we need your support. We need you to stop politicizing this conversation. Whatever your political views are and whatever it is that you think you know about this issue, I urge you to come and talk to the people who are most impacted by it. Come and talk to the people who had to create a solution in the absence of what systems are paid to do. Because I promise you, you already have more than enough. California's budget is billions of dollars. And a lot of it gets funneled right back into the same systems. We need those dollars to come to our communities. When someone is hurt or harmed, there's no one they trust more than someone else who's been through that journey. Ain't that right, y'all? Ain't that right, survivors? Who knows how best to support somebody in a moment like this? Who knows better than us? We do. Mama, who's helping us? Us. Us for us, who's helping us? Broken by violence, who's helping us? We create our solutions. We need you to work with us, California. We need you to open your doors and make time. We need you to not be scared to take risks. See, there's some bills that we have here in the Capitol, and a couple of them we've been working for a couple of years because there are some members in here that might be a little shook. They might be a little shook because they don't know how to take risks the way that we do. The thing is that we didn't have a choice. Did we have a choice, y'all? We didn't have a choice because some people were not listening. There were some people who were not hearing us. So we had to do what we had to do. But we're going to encourage you, California, those of you who have now been given an office and a seat to make decisions, to take some risks. Take some risks to make a change. If you really about what you say you about. If you really care about public safety, we're going to know by the way you respond to what our survivors say needs to happen right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. We want the change to happen right now. I got some change makers standing here with me today. And I'm grateful that in this building, there are a lot of folks who are still learning about our conversation, but there's some people who have been 10 toes down from day one. So I want to pull one up to the mic so you can hear from him, and it's our good friend and brother, Assembly Member Isaac Bryan.
What's up, family? I see y'all. Is LA in the house? Hey, yo, Skip, I can't hear you. Is LA in the house? We just ended our Public Safety Committee hearing today, or we're taking a pause. We're going to resume back on it. And I've been sitting on that committee for 2 years. And there are a lot of people in this building who think that they speak for survivors. They think they speak for you. And they think with your voice, they can use it to increase our systems of harm and punishment instead of building systems of healing, restoration, community accountability. And you know what? They're wrong. You know how I know they're wrong? Because they don't speak for survivors, you do. Because when real survivors speak, what happens?
Change happens.
I ain't hear y'all. When survivors speak, what happens?
Change happens.
You've been leading that for 10 years, and I'm grateful to be here as one of your people inside to lead that change with you. This year we've got a bill, AB 60. It just got out of public safety, and you all are sponsoring it. What it'll do is it will require counties in Los Angeles to notify survivors who have been impacted by violence of community-based healing and accountability restorative justice programs so that if you want to get healing in the community, you can. We don't believe that the district attorney's prosecution is the only way justice can be reached. In fact, we question whether justice has ever reached that way. But those other systems don't exist yet. And they won't exist if we don't build them. And I'm so grateful that California has you all organized and showing up, because with your voice, with your presence, with your organizing, we will build them. Because when survivors speak,
Change happens.
thank y'all for being here.
When I tell you this brother is 10 toes down for us, and I don't care where we pull up on him at, he's showing up. Thank you, Assembly Member. We appreciate you. I have another 10 toes down from day one, but he's from my neck of the woods. Frisco, where you at? And he's now our state assembly member, and we're honored to be working on a bill with him this year. And we appreciate your courage because we know how we do when we come from the city. We ain't pulling out of nothing. We're going to make sure change happens. So I would like to invite our newest assembly member, Matt Haney, to the mic.
All right, is California at the Capitol this morning? When survivors speak.
Change happens.
All right, because my brother from LA did this. Is the Bay Area out here? Is the Bay here? Okay, all right. I see some of my folks from the city who are here, United Players, UP. It takes the hood. I see my folks from Us for Us. I want to shout out the Monterosa family that are here for their incredible advocacy. Look, my brother Isaac Bryan said it better than I ever could. The reason why we are in a safety crisis in our state is because people took what has happened to survivors and they exploited it. They said that the only way to keep us safe is to lock more and more people up. Well, the truth is, that's what doesn't keep us safe. That process of taking people from their families, from their communities, is what causes violence. It's why we have far too many people who are here today who have lost a loved one. And I want to take a moment to recognize everyone here who is still grieving and the courage that it took you to come here today and sit in front of legislators and relive your pain and your trauma and share with these folks what could have kept that loved one alive. So I want to thank you for your courage in being here today and how much it means. It will make a difference. People here will listen. And I am proud in my first year here to have a bill that is sponsored by Californians for Safety and Justice. And this bill fixes this fundamental flaw with how decisions are made in this building and in the courtroom. Right now, if you are a victim of human trafficking, a victim of domestic violence, a victim of violence, you are not allowed to bring that experience into the courtroom. You're not allowed to share that experience of violence that you've experienced and have it taken in consideration by a judge or jury. We have a bill that will change that will allow in all offenses, including, yes, sometimes violent offenses, that the experiences of survivors are heard in the courtroom. Right now, over 90% of people who've experienced human trafficking are more likely to be arrested rather than freed from that human trafficking. They're arrested for crimes that are directly related to the violence they've experienced. And so you're bringing that message here to Sacramento, and we're going to make sure that message also reaches the courtroom. When survivors speak, thank you.
Thank you, Assembly Member. When survivors speak, change does happen, and we're making change all over the country. And so I have someone who's near and dear to my heart, who is a survivor leader, who shows up for survivors, who's literally been all over the country organizing survivors. You probably sat in training with him on the way here. I sat in his training, and that's why I'm the bomb today. This is my brother, Danny Montes.
Survivor Seat, California, how are you all doing? I want to start by saying congratulations. Congratulations for being here. Congratulations for getting in your car, getting on that bus, and representing yourselves, your families, and survivors across the state of California. Today's a big day because for far too long, our voices, the voices of majority of survivors across the state, were silenced. Our voices were ignored when it came to crafting public policy. And what was the result of that? Decades of laws and policies that were passed and enacted in our name. Instead of helping us, they continued the trauma. They destabilized our communities and made us less safe and vulnerable. But over the past 10 years, we at Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice have lived out the reality that when people get organized, they can change the world. For the past 10 years, we have built a powerful community by sharing our stories, supporting one another, loving each other, and casting a new vision for what a future rooted in shared safety looks like. And look at what we achieved. This impact is extraordinary. Today, more than 50,000 strong across every region of California is represented with Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice. We have over 200,000 members across the country. Because of the work that we did here in California, because of the work that we started here in California, we have taken this work across the country. We've talked to crime survivors in every corner of this nation. We've held community meetings, we've made thousands of calls, we've had hundreds of trainings, we've shared countless stories. We have been organizing. Because of this, we have now created a movement of crime survivors across the country. And for the last 10 years, we've been able to turn pain into power. We've been able to pass 14 laws here in the state of California, with hopefully 5 more, right? We've also been able to pass over 90 new laws across the country. We've been able to expand access to health services and support survivors across the country. But our work is far from over. There is still more work to be done, and there's more services and support that we need to provide to survivors here in the state of California. So we continue to build for another 10 years, right? And then 10 more after that. We are going to continue to grow this movement until our voices are heard in every state capital in this country. We need more investments in our community. Do you agree? Say yes if you want more trauma recovery centers. Say yes if you want better access to victim services. Say yes if you want more prevention programs. When survivors speak, when survivors speak, again, congratulations to each and every one of you for being here. It means the world to you, to us, and to this movement. Now I want to introduce an amazing leader here in the state capitol, representing District 20 here in California, representing the San Fernando Valley, and a true leader for survivors across the state. I want to introduce Senator Menjivar.
Thank you. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I might be a new face for all of you. I am 4 months into this new position, but I'm not new in this space. I'm a social worker. I've been fighting for survivors of domestic violence. I've been fighting for survivors of sexual assault. And I know you heard that more work needs to be done in California. And this is why I'm here to talk to you about SB 838 to move us forward to ensure we get access to resources. Because what do you do when you're a survivor of violence, of serious injury, and you need to go to the perpetrator to get a police report to obtain the services that you need? What happens if it's the police who inflicted that pain on you? How are you as a survivor gonna go up to your perpetrator and be like, I need this police report so I can get claims against what you inflicted on me? So what SB 838 is looking to do and ensure that survivors, victims, the kinship of the victims who are killed at the hands of police officers can go to our California Victims Compensation Board and obtain the resources they need. As a social worker, I know the power behind peer groups. I know the power behind advocacy that comes from the individuals who know firsthand what they went through. You've been hearing this day in and day out. Here, 120 of us, our members, can never speak truth to what you bring to the table. So I want to make sure as a social worker that I'm providing the services, the mental health services that we all need, that victims and survivors need. Right now, SB 838 passed out of the Public Safety Committee, but it's in suspense right now in the Senate Appropriations. And I need help. I need every single one to call in, to write in to the Senate Appropriations and say, we need funding to provide services. Because when you need mental health, you don't need it in a year. You don't need it in 6 months. When you need to get your medical bills paid, you don't need that in a year. You need services right then and there. Because when you're suffering from depression and anxiety, that's not going to be placed on hold while you wait for payment to come down. So I'm excited. I'm thrilled to have the support of Californians for Safety and Justice in pushing forward SB 838. And now I need all of you next to me, in front of me, behind me to push it out of the Senate appropriations, because it's time we pay and provide resources for survivors of police violence. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Menjivar. This is what I'm talking about when I say courage and leadership. 4 months in, and she's taken on a bill that we've been trying to pass for the past 4 years. And she took it head on and said, no, this needs to happen. That's the kind of leadership that we want. That's what makes Senator Menjivar and the other members who are here with us champions. And they do need our voices. Because the truth is, while our bill might be in appropriations, the state of California knows, and if they don't, they should do the research and know, that victims' compensation is the payer of last resort. This means we still have to front the costs. All we're doing is being asked to be recognized as victims so we can get the support to get those funds reimbursed back to us. We already cover the cost, don't we, community? So we need the state to do its part to meet us halfway so that our people can heal and get the support they deserve. Thank you, Senator Menjivar, for your leadership. When we talk about courageous survivors, these two survivors who are going to join me next are a great example of that. They have been members in our network now, and they have been fearless in speaking truth about what types of change need to happen in our justice system to make sure that all survivors are treated equitably, but that in that search for justice, in that quest for justice, that we don't continue to harm our people. We don't continue to harm communities. So I want to invite two healers to speak to you. And this is Jess and Annie Nichols, our good friends. Come on.
Hi. We're going to read from some notes today. So we are related to Polly Klaas, the girl who was kidnapped from her bedroom and murdered in 1993. She was our sister. In the wake of our grief over Polly's death, lawmakers used her kidnapping to pass some harsh sentencing laws called 3 strikes, which has expanded mass incarceration in California as well as across the United States. So our sister Polly was used for this incarceration agenda. And as high-profile crime survivors, we were used for this incarceration agenda. And we are exactly the people that the justice system is supposed to help. We received a lot of public validation about our victimhood, which is not something that many of the survivors here today can say. But even though legislation was literally passed in our name, and we were supposed to feel justice with that, as victims, we didn't feel served or helped by the justice system and have had a 30-year journey of our own healing, often in spite of the system. Healing is a very personal thing, and different people need different things at different times. Healing is a long journey, and really it looks different for everyone, and to only offer a punitive approach to justice doesn't even come close to what is needed. We need to be putting our resources to help people heal rather than lock them up.
For the past few years, my sister and I have been in conversations with people who have been incarcerated and impacted under 3 strikes. And we've seen the devastation it's caused, both for people who are incarcerated as well as their loved ones and their communities and their children. It's a difficult thing to convey how painful it is for our sister Polly, someone we loved so much, to have been used to inflict this kind of harm on so many people. And that's really the pain at the center of our story as we've seen the legacy of three strikes unfold over the past 3 decades, we do not believe that harsh sentencing laws contribute to public safety in any way, nor do they serve survivors who need tangible support and healing. It's time for all of us to recognize that the kind of policies that emerged out of the tough on crime movement of the 80s and 90s have locked us in a crisis of mass incarceration and untreated trauma, and have left victims alone and abandoned when they need care the most. We don't want these unjust laws to be the sum of our sister's life, and we don't want our pain to be used to punish anyone else. Too many victims here have either known the pain of having their stories exploited for a political agenda or the heartbreak of having their stories ignored altogether. We are here today to ask you to listen, really listen to their stories and their solutions. We want a justice system that serves more victims than it creates, that cares more about preventing harm and addressing the root causes of violence than punishing people. These are the leaders here who are healing our communities and creating a new safety movement, and we are honored to be standing with them today. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin Annie. I hope y'all caught how powerful that was. How many of you have been to jail or prison? Raise your hand. How many of you have loved ones that have been to jail or prison? I want you to see the connection between these two things. They have a saying that a lot of people make cliche that hurt people and heal people, right? That's a real thing. And if we are trying to fix this problem, we have to deal with the root of why people are hurting so that no more people are harmed. And we can't use the fact that people are being hurt as an excuse to throw them away. Right? We want solutions. I have one more person that I'm going to bring up is my sister. She's our newest staff member, but I want to tell you why Lanesha inspires me, because she always talks about the way that I inspire her. I have, over the past 4 years, see Lanesha go from a chapter member who was grieving the way that I was grieving the loss of 2 brothers, standing in the gap as a gang interventionist, seeing her as an organizer in her community, seeing her bring the entire Harbor City together in peace. And if you ain't from LA and don't know what that is, that's on you, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm from Hunters Point. So it's no small feat to bring a hood together. That means you got some power. That means you got some clout. That means you got some respect, okay? This is big sis to a lot of people. A lot of people. And her family has been dual impacted by incarceration and by homicide. But Lanesha's heart and her leadership has inspired her family, her community, and now the whole state. And the number of people that are new that we have here this year says to me that she's on the right track to keep this up and build our movement out in California. So I want to invite my sister, the CSSJ chapter engagement associate, member associate, whatever. This is my dog. Come on, Lane.
Thank you, right? Let's hear it for our CSSJ chapters, right? Can we give it up to everybody who traveled so far to be here with us today? Starting way at the bottom of the map with the San Diego chapter, right? Can we shout out our Inland Empire chapter, our Los Angeles chapter, Orange County, and our newest chapter, the San Fernando Valley chapter, right? We have the Central Valley, the Fresno, the Sacramento, Listen, we ain't forgot about Stockton. We just ain't got there yet, right? Our Stockton chapter, our San Francisco chapter. Oh, see Mom over there? That's the head of Stockton, right? Thank you all for traveling, right, with and being here with us. Up and down this great state in every region, we have crime survivors lifting their voices and lifting each other's up, right? We stand in the lines like it has been stated today for each other, supporting each other through hard moments, healing, being those voices of support, understanding, concern. All of this important work today has been done by so many of you. With so many communities in crisis, we cannot afford to return to the failed policies of the past that do nothing to protect our communities from harm, right? We have to pay attention to narratives and make sure that we are helping those move forward and not go backwards. We can and we must continue to push forward and prioritize the needs of survivors, prioritizing healing, prevention, crime and harm from occurring in the first place, right? It's about prevention, intervention, not the after the fact. It's about before. So let's continue to stand together and fight for those new safety priorities that prioritize and center our voices.